Hi guys, this is Ivy from Womply, here to show you how to fill out your application for the second round of the Paycheck Protection Program form directly through Harvest Ventures. Let's go ahead and get started. First things first, when you actually get to the application itself, it's going to take you to a page that looks just like mine, where it's going to give you two options. Either we're going to click Start New Application or Continue Application. In our particular case, we're going to go ahead and click Start New Application. What this is going to do is it's going to ask you for the email address in question. And once you go ahead and send that email, it's actually going to go ahead and send you directly, the application itself to you via email. You're going to receive an email with a link that takes you into the application form itself. Please make sure that you don't lose that. After you go ahead and you click on that link, it's going to take you to a page that looks just like mine, where it's going to ask you to complete your Paycheck Protection Program application. As you can see, we've got a couple of different pieces of information to go through. So first, let's go ahead and start on general. First things first, we're going to start by entering our name and our last name, email address, and phone number. Then it's going to ask us to tell us about your business. Is this a second draw PPP loan? Where we're going through the application specifically as a second draw PPP, we're going to go ahead and hit yes. As you can see, that brought up a brand new tab called Second Draw in the application itself. Next, it's going to ask us for our business name. So let's go ahead and enter that in. Our DBA. This is applicable if you're doing business under a different name than what you're actually registered as. Your tax ID type, you can either choose an EIN, that's an employer identification number, or an SSN. EIN will be applicable if you're a business. SSN will be applicable if you're something like an independent contractor. In our case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to enter in the EIN because we are in fact a business. As always, any and all information that we show you guys directly inside these application videos is 100% falsified to make sure that we can help you go through the application to the best of your ability. Now that we've got our tax ID in, now let's go ahead and finish. Where it's going to ask us for our business established date. That'll be the month, the day, and the year. Our NAICS code. If you don't know what your NAICS code is, that's 100% okay. All you have to do is click on this little tiny question mark right here. It'll actually open up a brand new tab to help you find that information. If you do have your NAICS code, on the other hand, simply go ahead and click on the box itself, click on that drop down, then you're going to start to enter in the numbers themselves. So you can enter in the first couple, and then you've got to scroll down just a little bit. Let's see if we can find it. There we go, 541613 Marketing Consulting Services. After that, it's going to ask us for our business entity type, whether that's a sole proprietorship, self-employed individual, professional corporation, etc. In our particular case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to click corporation, because that's the one that's going to be the most potentially best for us in our particular business. So let's go ahead. We're going to click on corporation, professional corporation, and then it's going to ask us for our business phone. Again, this is in case they have any questions, they need to get hold of us in any way, shape, form, or capacity. They have the ability to be able to call you directly. After that, we're going to go into business address. Again, making sure that everything in the system is the best that we can possibly do, and so that they can actually find you in the system. Okay, we're going to enter in our street address, our city, our state, and then our zip code directly into the sheet. Now, this next little step is really important. Everybody can see right here where there's this little house icon. You need to click the house icon before you move forward. What this does is it looks up the zip code, congressional district, and census tract to make sure that everything that you've entered into this form is correct and you do in fact have a valid address. The form will not submit properly unless you hit that little house button. After that, if you are a franchise, go ahead and enter in your franchise if that's applicable. And then next, it's going to ask you for loan purpose. We're going to check everything that applies to us. So we need to check at least one. That's payroll costs, utilities, covered property damage, covered worker protection expenditures, other, rent or mortgage interest, covered operations expenditures, or covered supplier costs. In my particular case, the only one that's applicable to me is payroll costs, but please click anything and everything that's applicable to your business. After verifying that everything's been filled out and you have in fact hit that little house icon, go ahead and click Next. This is going to take you directly into here where it's going to ask you for your second draw information. Now this is important. You want to make sure that you look up your documentation for your tax documentations from last year where you did get that PPP loan. So let's go ahead and enter this in. The loan amount, the comparison time period, so you can look at Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. The reason why this is important is this is where you're going to be able to see what your 2020 gross receipts are. This is what you're going to be comparing that to. So for instance, I'm going to click Q3, 2020 gross receipts. This is going to be 25% less than the corresponding quarter revenue below. So in this particular case, we made, let's say 20,000. The comparison time period we're going to say is Q3 versus where we made 10,000. Nope, wrong number. 10. Just like that. So as you can see, we have all of our information right here. We're picking the timestamps that we're going to be comparing to make sure that we can see at least a 25% less corresponding quarter revenue below. You have the opportunity to click a specific quarter or even the full year if that's more applicable for your business. After you filled out all of this information, you made sure that this is accurate and correct, we're going to go click on loan details. Now, from here, this is where things get a little bit tricky. There are two different things we're going to be able to download here. First, we have to download a signed SBA form 2483SD. After that, we're going to be clicking on the loan amount. So let's go ahead and click right here where it says click here to download this Paycheck Protection Program form. Once we do that, you guys can see that's right here. I'm going to pull it up on my computer. We're going to click Documents, Downloads. There we go. Should look just like this. So as you guys can see, this is our information right here. This is everything that we need for the Paycheck Protection Program form. So make sure that we fill out everything as to the best of our ability. So starting at the top and working our way down. First, we're going to click at the check 1. So we're going to be clicking on the one that's most applicable to us in our particular business. So that could be a sole proprietorship, partnership, C Corp, S Corp, etc. I'm going to go ahead and click S Corp. That's because it's most applicable to me. Next, you're going to enter in your DBA or trade name if applicable, the year you were established, the business legal name, your NAICS code. As mentioned, you had that on the previous page. If you don't know what that is, it's totally okay. You can look that up. The applicant, including affiliates, if applicable, must be able to meet these size standards. No more than 500 employees. SBA industry size standards, SBA alternative. We're going to go ahead and click no more than 500 employees. Business address, business EIN or SSN, business phone number, primary contact, email address. Then it's going to have us enter in our average monthly payroll, which is 20,000 times 2.5 plus idle if you do in fact have an idle grant. That equals 50,000 over here, and the total number of employees. After that, again, just like we had on the previous page, it's going to ask you for the purpose of the loan. As you can see, I've only clicked payroll costs, but please click anything and everything that's applicable to you. After that, we're going to list all owners of 20% or more of the equity of the applicant. So you're going to enter in their first name, their title, their ownership percentage, their EIN or SSN, and their address. After that, it's going to ask us to be able to hit yes or no next to some certain questions. Is the applicant or any owner of the applicant presently suspended, debarred, proposed for debarment, declared ineligible, voluntarily excluded from participation in this transaction by any federal agency or department? In my case, we're going to go ahead and click no. Has the applicant, any owner of the applicant, or any business owned or controlled by any of them ever obtained a direct or guaranteed loan from the SBA or any other federal agency that is currently delinquent or has defaulted in the last 7 years and caused a loss to the government? Again, in my case, no. Is the applicant or any owner of the applicant of any other business or have common management with, including a management agreement with any other business? If so, please go ahead and list yes. In my case, again, that's a no. Did the applicant receive an SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan between January 31st, 2020 and April 3rd, 2020? If yes, please provide details on a separate sheet. Again, in my case, no. Is the applicant, if an individual or any individual owning 20% or more of the equity of the applicant, presently incarcerated or for any felony presently subject to an indictment, criminal information, arraignment, or other means by which formal charges can be brought in any jurisdiction? Again, I'm going to click no. After that, please make sure that you initial here to confirm your response to question 5. Number 6, within the last 5 years for any felony involving fraud, bribery, embezzlement, or false statement in a loan application or any application for federal financial assistance, or within the last year for any other felony has the applicant, if an individual, or any other owner of the applicant been convicted, pleaded guilty, pleaded nolo contendere, or commenced any form of parole or probation? Again, in my case it's a no. Please make sure that you go ahead and initial here. Next, is the United States the principal place of residence for all employees included in the applicant's payroll? I'm going to go ahead and click yes. Is the applicant a franchise? That's a no for us. And is the franchise listed in the SBA's franchise directory? Again, I'm going to go ahead and click no. If that's a yes, please put your identifier code on the correct sheet. After that, what's going to happen is it's going to give you a whole bunch of things to be able to read. That, by signing below, you are certifying the following: that you've read everything included in the form, the applicant is eligible to receive a loan under the rules in effect at the time of this application, the applicant, together with its affiliate, is an independent contractor, self-employed individual, or sole proprietor with no employees, is not a housing cooperative, eligible 501c6 organization, or eligible destination marketing organization, employs no more than the greater of 500 employees, or meets the applicable standard size of employees established by the SBA. That you're going to comply whenever applicable with the civil rights and other limitations in the form. That all loan proceeds will be used for only business-related purposes as specified in the loan application. That you understand that the SBA encourages the purchase to an extent feasible of American-made equipment or products. The applicant is not engaged in any activity that's illegal under the federal or state or local law. And any idle loan received by the applicant was for a purpose other than paying payroll costs and not allowable for uses for the loan under the Paycheck Protection Program rules. Now that we've gone ahead, we made sure that we understand that, we're going to go ahead and initial next to the following. First, the applicant was in operation on February 15th and has not permanently closed and was either an eligible self-employed individual, independent contractor, or sole proprietor. Again, that's all correct, so we went ahead and we initialed. Current economic uncertainty makes the loan request necessary to support the ongoing operations of the applicant. We went ahead and initialed. The funds will be used to retain workers and maintain payroll or make payments for mortgage, interest, rent, utilities, covered operations expenditures, covered property damage costs, covered supplier costs, or covered worker protection expenditures. Again, we went ahead and initialed. I understand that the loan forgiveness will be provided for the sum of documented payroll costs covered in the mortgage interest payments, covered rent payments, covered utilities, covered operations expenditures, covered property damage costs, covered supplier costs, and covered worker protection expenditures, and not more than 40% of the forgiven amount may be used for non-payroll costs. We initialed. The applicant has not and will not receive another loan under the Paycheck Protection Program. The applicant has not and will not receive a shuttered venue operator grant. The president, vice president, head of an executive department, or member of Congress, or the spouse of such person as determined under the applicable common law, does not directly or indirectly hold a controlling interest in the applicant itself. Again, initial. I further certify that the information provided in this application and the information provided in all supporting documents and forms is true and accurate in all material respects. I understand that knowingly making a false statement to obtain a guaranteed loan from the SBA is punishable under the law, including under the 18 U.S.C. 1001 and 3571 by imprisonment of not more than 5 years and a fine of up to $250,000. And you acknowledge that the lender will confirm the eligible amount using the required documents submitted. Again, go ahead and make sure that you sign this right here. You've entered in your signature printed, you've entered in the date of the application, and you've entered in your title within the company. After that, it's going to give you this lovely sheet that talks about the purpose of the loan, instructions for completing the loan, Paperwork Reduction Act, the Privacy Act, the Disclosure of Information, what that means for the Debt Collection and the Freedom of Limitations Act, the Civil Rights Act, and the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. Once you've filled out this entire application to the best of your ability, you're going to click up here at the top, you're going to click Save, make sure that it is in fact saved to the best of your ability, and we're going to exit out of that for right now. Now that we've officially saved that, we're going to click Select the File directly from our desktop. We're going to find that document that we actually just went through together. As you can see, that is right here. There's our corrected form, as you can see right here. We're going to go ahead and press Open. Once it's officially updated, then it's going to ask us for the loan amount. What it's going to do is it's going to ask you to click here for an Excel calculator to help calculate the loan amount. I actually have that ready to go right here to be able to show you what this looks like as well. Hopefully make things just a tiny bit easier. This is what the Excel calculator looks like directly on the Harvest application. Now, don't get overwhelmed. It's broken into 3 sections, and I'm going to walk you through it to the best of my ability. First, up here at the top, you're going to notice there are 3 different sections. You have non-seasonal business. Scroll down a little bit. You have seasonal business. And you have new business. When we say new business, that's less than 2 years old. So we're going to click the section that's most applicable to us. You only need to fill out the section of the calculator that is in fact appropriate for us. As you can see right here, there's some payroll costs over here as well. We don't need to enter in anything for the data entry second round. As you can see, it's actually lodged for us right here. Makes it really easy. There are 2 different sections here. We have first draw, second draw. Please make sure that when you're filling out your calculator, you're filling out the second tab down here at the bottom that says Second Draw. This is extraordinarily important. What this does is it allows us to be able to calculate the loan based on what's most applicable in your particular situation. First draw, second draw. Okay, we're going to go ahead. We clicked on the Second Draw tab, and we're going to fill out these sections for non-seasonal business. First question. Is your business in the accommodation and food service sector? That's a no for us, so we're not going to enter that. However, if that's a yes, please fill that out by giving that yes or no right here. Next is the total payroll cost for either 2019 or 2020 for employees residing in the United States, inclusive of employers' state paid and local taxes, retirement contributions, and healthcare premiums. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that directly into the system. Next, the number of employees earning over $100,000 on an annual basis during the period used on the row above. So in my case, that's a 0. However, you're going to enter in the total number of employees that are earning more than $100,000. Next, total payroll expenses for the employees earning over $100,000. What this does is they take this number, they multiply it by this number, and they subtract it from this one to make your life so much easier. Next, if you file a 1040 Schedule C, please go ahead and enter in the Schedule C line 31. I'm going to go ahead, that doesn't apply to me, so we're good. If this business is a partnership, please complete the Partnership tab. Meaning that if you are in fact a partnership, please go down here, click on this applicable tab, and enter in the correct information. This has information on your K1, your Section 179 expense deductions, unreimbursed partnership expenses, and depletion claimed. In our case, that's not applicable, so we're going to go ahead and leave that as a 0. As you can see, we have entered this amount under the average monthly payroll in the application. That's $20,833. So let's go ahead. We're going to fix this a little bit, and we're going to look at this together. Average monthly payroll, we said $20,833. Times 2 equals $52,082. $52,082. Now that we've confirmed that all that's correct, again, we're going to go up to the top. We're going to go ahead and click Save. Make sure that this is saved to the best of your ability. Then we're going to exit out. We're going to click right here where it says Select Final, right here where it says select file. I went into my documents. We're going to get our PPP calculator right here, and we're going to go ahead and click open. As you can see, there's our wonderful calculator that's officially in the system. We have our application in the system as well. Next, we're going to click the certification. I certified that the information contained in the completed loan calculator regarding employee counts and compensation is true and correct. Next, if you do have an EIDL loan, please enter in your EIDL information here, as well as your EIDL loan number. As you can see right now, this is going to be our total loan amount. Then we're going to go ahead and click next. After that, it's going to ask us for some job details and tax returns. So we're going to enter in the total number of employees, the total number of employees last year, and then it's going to ask us for our tax filings. So this is going to be the quarterly tax filings. That's Form 941 for 2020, a supporting payroll processor records for 2020, and that'll be through 2/15/2020. If you're an independent contractor, you're going to upload your Form 1040 Schedule C and 1099 MISC. And if you're a sole proprietorship, you're going to put up your 1040 Schedule C. In my particular case, we're going to go ahead and click Select Files. We're going to go to our documents. As you can see, there's my Q1, select, Q2, select, Q3, select, Q4, select, and then our payroll processor documents for our 2020 through 2/15/2020. So I'm going to go right here. We're going to go to the correct section for me, and we're going to go ahead and put right here, we've got January. There's my payroll processor document. And let's go ahead again. We're going to find February. Open that up. Once you verified that everything is in fact correct in here, you've got your payroll processor records right here. We're going to go ahead and click Next. We're almost there. Next, it's going to ask us for our owner information. So this is going to be the information for all owners of the applicant. So in my case, that's going to be me, last name. We're going to do the ownership percentage. In my case, it's going to be 100%. Your job title. In my particular case, there's all sorts of different options. Please click the one that's going to be the most applicable to you. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to where it says owner. You're going to go ahead and enter in your SSN. As always, please remember that anything and everything that we show you directly inside this application is in fact falsified for the sake of the particular application video. We just want to make sure we can help you to the best of our ability. Next, we're going to go ahead and enter in our phone number. That way, in case I have questions, I can reach us. And an email address associated with us. That way, again, in case they have any questions, comments, or concerns, they can reach out to us directly. Next, we're going to enter in our street address, just like last time. That's going to be our street address, our state, our city, and then our zip code, 94104. Just like last time, please make sure that you hit this little house button. I know it doesn't look like it's a button, but what it does is it verifies the address itself, make sure that it's correct, and again, it gives you things like, which census district you're in to make sure we are in fact on the correct address. After that, it's going to ask you for some basic demographics. So your gender, your veteran status, your race, your ethnicity, and then it's going to ask you for a driver's license. So we need it to be full color driver's license. That way we can actually find you, make sure that we can verify your identity, and put that directly into the system. Once you have your driver's license put into the system, we're going to go ahead and click Next. Now, owner tabs 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you do not have 5 owners, only fill out the amount of tabs that you need for each individual owner. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and skip to Finish Application. After that point in time, as you can see, we're almost done. If you have any comments that you want to add here, go ahead and click Comments. Otherwise, we're going to click Submit My Application. It's going to show you right here. Submission complete. We will be contacting you regarding your application. If you have any questions about your application, please contact Harvest Small Business Finance LLC, and it gives you a website. So, if you run into any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always feel free to reach out to us directly. However, from this point in time, what's going to happen is you're going to receive an email directly from the lender detailing next steps, any potential questions they may have, and if they run into any issues when trying to process your application, they'll be handling it directly from there. But as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you. Have a good day.